Hello, I'm John, your host of this year's Electric Grape Mountain Festival, streaming live from the SS Crunch of the Sea this Sunday, July 18th at 7 p.m. on facebook.com/electricgrape. The link to the stream, it's currently on screen. A lot has happened over the last few years to our humble little yearly music festival, so we all thought it would be nice to go back and look at all that has occurred these last few years to catch you up for this year's festival. We call this the catch-up. We begin the catch-up where we started, 52 years ago on McCulloch's farm, where our festival's founder, Bill Crunchy Dill Dillerson, and his 5 friends, Dan Neely, Margaret Megan, Franny G. Jaw Hirsch, David Cricket Whisper Smith, and City Councilman Peter Soggy Pete Zaglowski, set out to create a music festival experience to help bring some bands and some notoriety to the small town of Grape Mountain, PA. Little did they know that this very first festival would have a ripple effect that would span generations. As the festival grew and saw many changes and many attempts to make it unique, many of the 6 friends went their own way. Most notably, childhood friend of Crunchy Dill, Peter Soggy Pete Zaglowski. In 1978, the two had a terrible falling out that led to Soggy Pete forming his own festival, the Mendocino Music Fest, a rival to the Electric Grape Mountain Festival that sole purpose was to take away from the success of EGMF. After just 10 years, Crunchy Dill found himself running the entire festival by himself. And he certainly introduced some ideas that were great and some that were not so great. For instance, in 1989 at the 20th annual Electric Grape Mountain Festival, Crunchy Dill thought it would be interesting to have 2 main stages directly next to one another, playing music at the same time. An idea that didn't work out very well. However, in 1996, Crunchy Dill introduced the Yuck Pool, an idea that has now become a cherished festival tradition. That's the best thing about Electric Grape Mountain Fest. It's full of traditions, such as the Electric Fire, which started in 1979 at the 10th annual Electric Grape Mountain Festival, when a group of campers accidentally started an electric fire that wiped out 2/3 of the festival's campgrounds that year. Another great tradition is the annual Food Truck Maze, a maze that consists of a delicious assortment of various food trucks that is so vast and complicated that every year at least one child goes missing. It's fun for the whole family. The festival continued highlighting great acts and great events for decades. Last year, however, the festival saw its biggest tragedy. Just days before the 51st annual Electric Grape Mountain Fest, the mountain learned that Crunchy Dill mysteriously passed away. His wife, Crunchy Diane, also passed away just months prior in May. Many speculated as to what the cause of death was for both Crunchy Dill and Crunchy Diane, and the case is still under investigation. Rumors ran wild, but the festival continued last year without fail, and proved to be an amazing tribute to both Crunchy Dill and Crunchy Diane. We now fast forward to this year's festival, the very first one planned not by Crunchy Dill, but by his grandson, Kevin Dillerson. For a long time, Kevin has been the social media coordinator for the Electric Grape Mountain Festival. With dreams of making the best Electric Grape Mountain Fest in 51 years, Kevin had a tall order in front of him. Not only did he have to plan and put together a festival for the first time, he had to do so with new leadership in Grape Mountain, PA. That's because in November, a new mayor, president, and city council was all elected on the same day. Mayor Brian W. Braff assumed the role of mayor on the mountain, Soggy Pete became a city councilman, and Zach Braff, Brian W. Braff's brother and comedic actor and writer, became the 46th President of the United States on Grape Mountain, PA. The mayor also tapped his longtime friend and law advocate Rudy Giussiano to be the mayor's personal lawyer. With that, the Braff family and his friends became the most important political family in the history of Grape Mountain. Brian W. Braff, his new wife Stacy, and his son Brian W. Brawl Jr. quickly found themselves in the center of the limelight in Grape Mountain, and they were met with some mixed reactions. 2021 festival promoters pushed on planning, booking bands, and applying for pivotal permits to acquire the land on McCulloch's farm. For the first time on the mountain, there was a mayor who didn't quite like the idea of the Electric Grape Mountain Festival. As the Electric Grape Mountain tried time and time again to apply for permits for the land, they were rejected over and over. Once because of the Clean Can Act, a law put in place by the mayor that requires all Grape Mountain residents to clean their cans before throwing them away or face possible jail time. Another time they were rejected for an alleged typo. It was obvious the mayor and his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliano, were trying to buy some time so that they could figure out a way to prevent EGMF from happening this year. Ultimately, the land usually used for the Electric Grape Mountain Fest was given to longtime friend of Brian, W Brawl, and enemy of EGMF, Soggy Pete Siglowski, who used the land to host the inaugural Banana Forest Jamboree, a festival for kids on the mountain who hated youth baseball. For the first time in 52 years, the festival was in limbo. On June 19th, the Banana Forest Jamboree streamed live and ended up being hacked by what the mayor called a cult, the GWO, a renegade group of residents in the mountain who hate authority. While this was happening, the Electric Grape Mountain Festival promoters were looking for new ways to circumvent their inability to use McCulloch's farm for their festival. Kevin Dillerson knew two things. One, these were uncharted waters. And two, the mayor and his family were going to be heading to Punta Cana on July 19th for a family vacation. It was right then and there that Kevin Dillerson had an idea. A jam cruise to Punta Cana. The mountain rejoiced, and tickets quickly sold out, as the Electric Grape Mountain Festival would take to the sea for the first time ever. Many headliners from this year's EGMF would jump ship, no pun intended, and go play Banana Forest Jamboree. Festival planners for EGMF had to act fast. The decision to bring bands like Hoobastank, a Hoobastank cover band that the mayor's son loves, made many people on Grape Mountain even more excited for the cruise. It was also announced that EGMF would partner with Rockin' Robbie Townsend, a rockin' guy who loves to read, to get the band Book Fiend to reunite for a special one-night-only headlining performance. EGMF also brought back past favorites to play the festival, such as The Smell of Silence, Five Letter Word, and even Al Roker playing poker. The mayor, Soggy Pete, and Rudy Giuliano were still livid about the Banana Forest Jamboree, EGMF's Jam Cruise, and the rise of youth baseball on the mountain. After several more incidents with a few cults on the mountain, the mayor made it his personal mission to ban cults forever. The mayor and Rudy Giuliano proposed Proposition number 3455, a sweeping piece of legislation that would effectively ban cults, youth baseball, and festival jam cruises from taking place ever again. Reactions on the mountain were mixed. Some liked the idea of not having cults or gangs on the mountain causing a ruckus. Others hated the idea of no more festival jam band cruises. While the debate raged on, many on the mountain weighed in, and many allegiances changed, one of which was the mayor's son, Brian W. Brawl Jr. When Brian Jr. was first introduced to us, he was a simple kid with simple dreams of watching as many animated series as possible, and talking about his favorite band, Hoobastank. As the months went on, several events started to change Brian Jr., one of which was his dad's grave mistake in accidentally buying 2 tickets to Punta Cana instead of 3. Essentially leaving Brian Jr. to be an orphan for a few days. Another event that changed Brian Jr. was both EGMF and Hoobastank each announcing he had won a contest to attend the festival that year, ultimately for him to lose both opportunities. Brian Jr. vowed revenge on everybody who had wronged him, and it's hard to say we blame him. Another shocking change was Rockin' Robbie, who mutually parted ways with EGMF after several disputes about the lineup and events taking place on the boat. Rockin' Robbie is an avid reader and wanted to bring his unique twist to the festival, only to have our very own Kevin Dillerson have to explain several times that books and festivals, they don't always mix. Rockin' Robbie was incredibly mad about this whole fiasco, and he himself even vowed to get revenge on all those who wronged him. As the festival lineup changed, the mayor's views on Prop 3455 didn't. The mayor, Soggy Pete, and Rudy Giuliano did everything they could to promote the bill, even partnering with local pharmaceutical giant Globa Pharma to give everyone free Zyrtec, a mood enhancement drug. On July 14th, the mountain voted on Prop 3455, and it did in fact pass. The Electric Grape Mountain Festival was dead once again. All hope was lost. That was until July 15th, when an anonymous source sent EGMF shocking photos. It was found that Soggy Pete had committed blatant voter fraud by having multiple Twitter handles and voting multiple times in the election. The mayor lambasted the behavior and shelved Prop number 3455 until November. The mayor also put a warrant out for the arrest of his former best friend, Soggy Pete, and in that moment he became Grape Mountain PA's most wanted man. On July 16th, EGMF hosted their annual Q&A session. Kevin Dillerson unfortunately wasn't feeling well, so he passed hosting duties over to myself. It was only after the Q&A had concluded that I had learned of some more shocking news. Kevin Dillerson had mysteriously passed away at just 31 years old. It is at this time that I would like to offer my sincerest condolences to the entire Dillerson family. That now takes us to today, the day before the 52nd Annual Electric Grape Mountain Festival, where tomorrow night we will set sail to confront the mayor and his wife Stacy. We also get to see Al Roker Playing Poker perform a special 1-hour-long set. This has been a whirlwind getting us here, and tomorrow night it all comes to a head. Will we find Soggy Pete? What revenge will Brian Jr. get? Who is the leader of the Grape World Order? Who murdered Kevin Dillerson and his family? Who is going down the world's largest water slide? Tune in tomorrow night, July 18th at 7 p.m. to our live stream of the 52nd Annual Electric Grape Mountain Festival, streaming live on Facebook.com/Electric Grape to find out. We hope to see you there.